This is the ultimate guide to occultism. I'm going to be taking you through absolutely everything in the mod, step by step, in a digestible manner. So don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy, and check out my other playlists as I cover nearly every mod in Minecraft. Number 1, Demon's Dream. Well, that's right. We need to start whacking that grass and hoping that, as with most seeds in Minecraft, we're going to get some Demon Dream seeds. Simply plant them, you can bone meal them, and then what you're going to get is these lovely Demon's Dream fruits. Oh, I have my mechanism pack on. Demon's Dream fruit. So basically, this allows us to see beyond the veil. As you can see here, we have 2 oak trees, but one of them is actually from occultism. If I look at this one, you can see it says Oak Log Occultism and Oak Log Minecraft. Now, the easiest way to see these trees is by eating the demon's fruit, and you can now see beyond the veil for a little bit. Can you see here, the wood here looks very different to the wood of this oak tree? And that's basically how you see it. Now, one way or one thing we need to do is actually transfer or transform certain objects into things from occultism. So I'm just going to put out the Spiritfire. So throw down your Demon's Dream fruit and set light to it, and you'll get the Spiritfire. We can throw a few things in here, notably oak saplings. So if I throw in an oak sapling into the fire, wait a few seconds, and we're going to get an oak sapling back, but it's the one from occultism, which we can then make into an occultism tree. Now, for example, we know that this tree here has been planted from occultism. So let's do it again. If I plant my oak sapling from occultism, and then I grow it, it looks like a normal oak tree. I harvest it, I get a normal oak log. But if I'm beyond the veil and I can see it, then when I harvest it, I'm actually going to get otherworld wood instead. So you do need to be able to see the actual wood in its proper form in order to harvest it. If we put in Spiritfire to JEI, just enough items, I click and then hover over it and press U, and then click on the Spiritfire option here. We can actually, you might need just enough resources, just enough mods, just enough items. We can actually see what we can make with the Spiritfire. So a book will make a taboo book. There's even productive bees that you can make certain bees with. Demon's Dream Essence, which is made by making 9 of them together, will make you an Otherworld Essence. We can put Otherworld Wood into ashes. One of the really interesting ones will be a book and quill into a book of binding. More on that shortly. Diamonds into spirit-attuned gems, etc., etc. So if I say to you, you need to make this using Spiritfire, this is what I mean. For example, andesite into otherstone. One of the other items I'd like you to make is a dictionary of spirits, very early game, with one of your Demon Dream seeds and any book. And that will make you, well, a dictionary of spirits. This is basically, if we open it, kind of like the guidebook, as you can see here, which tells you all about the mod. But don't worry, of course, because you've got me. So now that we've managed to actually transform some items, let's get into our first ritual. If you don't know, occultism is all about summoning demons to do our bidding in Minecraft. So let's get summoning, baby. Now that we've got some basic materials, we can actually start summoning demons into the world to do our bidding. This here is a very basic and is going to be your first ritual you need to do. This is going to be to summon a Folio Crusher. Folio means the tier of the demon. Crusher is the demon that we're actually summoning. Now, there's a few things that don't matter. The name of the demon. Fenmarith, you can see here. The name of the demon does not matter. And the glyphs of the chalk do not matter. Only the colour of the chalk matters. Nor does the placement of the sacrificial bowls, but you need 4 of them. I've shown you loads of sacrificial bowls here, so you know where you can place them in a ritual, but it doesn't matter as long as you have 4 of them. So let's start making a ritual. Number 1, in the middle, you're going to need a golden sacrificial bowl. This is made with some gold ingots and a sacrificial bowl, which is made from otherstone, which you now know how to get. So I'm going to place down that, which is going to be the centre of our ritual. Now, what you could do for this one is go into a dictionary of spirits, and you could go to the bottom one, Pentacles, and we're going to be making Aviar's Circle. If I click on that, it shows me an image of it, and I can click the eye to get the multi-block preview. Now, what you can also do on the right-hand side here is mark all unlocked entries as red. You may need to do that to unlock these. With the items I've shown you how to make, you will have actually gotten to this point. However, you may need to click that just so you don't have to read it all, because, you know, you've got me. So AVR circle, this is to summon a Folio demon. Now, if I go to the next page, it says Folio Crusher, Folio Lumberjack, Folio Transporter, Janitor. These are different Folio Tier 1, basically. Folio means Tier 1 demons we can summon. And we'll be summoning a Crusher. You can see here that's what AVR's circle is for. It's only for the weakest Folio can be summoned with this ritual. So I'm going to click the eye, show the multi-block preview. Oh, no. Place it there. So, as you can see, we're going to need some candles. You can use Minecraft candles, or you can use occultism candles. To make occultism candles, what you need to do is get some tallow and some string. Tallow is made from, if I can get the right one, tallow is made from killing pigs, cows, sheep, and horses, and llamas with a butcher knife. Basically, kill them with a butcher knife, which you make with occultism, and you get tallow. But you can use Minecraft candles as well, or any other candles. So I'm going to place 1, 2, 3, and 4 candles. And now you can see we need some white chalk. To make white chalk, we need to get Otherworld ashes and burnt otherstone. Get your otherstone that you've made in the Spiritfire, shove it in a furnace, and you get that. Otherworld ashes, you throw your Otherworld wood into the Spiritfire to get that. That will make an impure white chalk. With the impure white chalk, we can make all of the chalks that we need. Red, purple, yellow, and white. But we can't quite get purple, yellow, and red yet. That's later on. But what I'm saying is the impure white chalk is the basis for all chalks. As you can see, it has no durability. But white chalk has a durability of 128. And you can actually add unbreaking to it if you want, which I didn't even realise until just now. What you need to do is throw your impure white chalk into your Spiritfire, and it will make it white chalk. So get your white chalk, and then just scribble down where it tells you to. So here, 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 oops, here, here, and here. As you can see, I've made an accident, and that truly was an accident, but it's a good accident because I need to also show you the chalk brush made out of some basic materials. You can get a chalk brush, right-click to remove that chalk. Now, what I can also do with my white chalk is cycle through the different glyphs. You would have seen they all had 2s. Now, it doesn't matter what glyph you have, it's all decorative. The only thing that matters in these rituals is the colour of the chalk. And here we need white chalk. I'm then going to place down my sacrificial bowls, which again can be placed anywhere within an 8-block radius. They can be placed like this or this. There we go. Then I need to put some things down. For this one, the Crusher demon, if you click on Folio Crusher, so what I've done here is I've gone AVR circle, next page, Folio Crusher. It tells you a bit about the Crusher. Basically, it will crush ores for us. It will crush 1 ore into 2 corresponding dusts, meaning the Folio Crusher can double your ores. We need to put iron ore, gold ore, copper ore, and silver ore in the sacrificial bowls. So I'm going to go iron, gold, copper, and silver. And now we need the last item in the middle, which is going to be a book of binding for a folio. So as you can see, it's got a different name here. As I said before, the name does not matter. Folios, there's a few different folio demons. What is going to make a folio crusher is using these items corresponding with a folio book. So to make the folio book, you use your Dictionary of Spirits and a book of binding folio. And to make the book of binding folio, you can use a taboo book, an awakened feather, and a purified ink. You know, ink in the Spiritfire, feather in the Spiritfire, book in the Spiritfire with 4 white dye. Or you can make a book of binding empty with those 3 items and then adding white dye around it. Using different dyes, like if we look at the book of binding empty, you can see purple dye will make an Afrit book, green dye will make a genie book, a mix will make, you know, this one, etc. That's how you know which demon you're making. So we want a folio. And another way of explaining it is a folio is a tier 1, use white dye. A genie is a tier 2 demon, use green dye. We need to make a folio first, a folio crusher. Hopefully that makes sense, because it is a bit confusing. the fact that they all have different names, yet they don't matter. The chalk glyphs don't matter, only the colour does. You know, it can be quite what does matter and what doesn't matter. So now that I've got my folio book, which again, I've made the Book of Binding folio, so Book of Binding with white dye, with my Dictionary of Spirits, which gives me this folio demon. I then put that in the middle with the corresponding ores, and as you can see, it's summoning a folio ore crusher, and its purple little specks are showing me here that it's working, and it's absorbing the catalysts that I have given to it. Now, once it's used all four, eventually it's going to summon the actual demon. Now, folio demons will not last forever. I can shift and right-click, and you can see essence decay. Once it fully essence decays, the demon will go back to the spirit world. Only folio demons will decay. All higher tier demons will stay around forever. Now, what I can do here is I can throw it some gold ore, and it will pick it up. You can see it's holding it. I can shift right-click and put it into its inventory. And that raw gold, it's going to turn into 2 gold dust. And yes, that does mean it will double the ores. Now, if you want to get your purple, let's do chalk. Let's say you want to get your impure purple chalk. That will need a crushed end stone and obsidian dust with your impure white. How do you get obsidian dust or crushed end stone? Well, give it to your crusher spirit. So it can crush ores and double them, but it can also crush end stone into end stone dust and obsidian into dust so that you can make purple chalk. The same with yellow chalk needing gold and glowstone dust. Well, glowstone dust you could just get manually, but gold dust, like we've just given it, as you can see it's dropped to gold dust. We can now use that to make yellow chalk. So you've now got access to impure golden and purple chalk. To make the red chalk, you will need Afrit essence, which is a bit later on. Of course, with your impure golden chalk and purple chalk, throw them into the Spiritfire, and you get your perfect golden and purple chalk. Because remember, the glyphs don't matter, but the colour of the chalk does when using rituals. And there you go, you've made your first ritual. A bit complex, but hopefully that made sense. If you've forgotten anything, then basically just go in your Dictionary of Spirits, think about what you want to make. So go, AVR circle. Think, I want to make a crusher. Click on that crusher, and it will show you what you need around it and the book you need. And then the pentacle here shows you that you need AVR circle. So if you want to look at this in the book, go into summoning rituals, and then summon Folio Crusher. And it shows you the different crushers you can get. The Genie Crusher, the Afrit Crusher, and the Married Crusher. So the Genie Crusher would need a Genie Book of Binding, which is with the green dye, I think. And you're going to need the dusts to actually summon it. And how do you get the dusts? Well, you need to use the Folio Crusher. But the Genie one will last forever, and the Genie will crush 1 ore into 3 dusts, so ore tripling. Then you have the Afrit one, which needs even more complex items, with Abra's Conjure Pentacle, and it will crush 1 into 4, and eventually the Married one crushing 6. So it's 6 timesing your ore output. But you're going to need a lot of more complex stuff, a more complex book, and Fatma's Incentivize Attraction. So if we look at the Genie one, you'd need the Offix's Calling, which, as you can see, if I press Show Multi-Block, you can see that to get a Genie demon, you actually need to do a lot more. It's going to need some white. In fact, I think you could just upgrade your basic one for that one. Yeah, I think so. But you're going to need, your white chalk, your gold chalk, and your purple chalk, and some Spirit-attuned crystal in order to make that pentacle, which is Spirit-attuned gems, which, remember, from Spiritfire is throwing in diamonds. So to make a Genie one, you need to get those gold and purple chalks, and it's going to be a bit more complex. But there we go. That's your first ritual done. You might be wondering if we can actually automate these crushers. So the next demon I want to show you is the Transporter. Using a minecart, dispenser, chest, and hopper, we can summon one. Again, a Book of Binding folio. I don't believe there is... I think it's just the folio. No, I think there's a Genie one as well. Let me look. Go to Pentacles and Offix's Calling, which is the Genie one. No, I think it is just the folio Transporter. Weird. Okay, so put all those down, put in the folio, and it will summon a folio Transporter for you. So what are these going to do? Well, they can take from one chest and put it into another. What this can actually do, though, is take your ores from a chest and put it into your Folio crusher. Now, as you can see, it's now been summoned, and in my inventory, I've been given a book of calling, Folio Transporter. You will automatically get that book. If you lose it, you can simply use your book of binding, Folio, with a chest, and you'll get a new one. Now, if you want to see that in the book, if you can see in here, Folio Transporter, you can see in these AVR circles, same as the crusher. These are the items, but it also shows you down here the golden sacrificial bowl will get the book of calling, Folio Transporter, meaning that's what you're going to get after the ritual. So what I'm going to do is get a chest, place it down, and I'm going to put my iron ore in there. What I'm then going to do is shift right click on my transporter demon, and I can say whitelist or blacklist. By default it's on whitelist, meaning I can click my iron ore and put it in there, and it will only take iron ore. We can also do tags like forge, ores, etc. And this is its inventory here. What I'm then going to do is take that book of calling and shift right click from this chest. It will now extract the chest from the side west. So it will do sides because it can do machines if you need it to. Now that we've designated obviously where it's going from, we then look at the ground and right click with our book of calling and press set deposit. Press the X and shift right click where you want it to give them to. And there you go. As you can see, it's taking items from the chest, all of them I think, because it can take a lot at a time, and it's then putting it into the inventory. Now I've been AFK for like an hour or two watching TV and stuffing my face between making this tutorial, and it's only decayed by 10%, so it is a really slow decay rate. These demons will last longer than I initially thought, even though they will eventually disappear. That's the Folio Tier 1 ones, after all. Now, as you can see here, the items are then still going to be dropped on the ground by your Folio Crusher. And the transporter can only take from inventory to inventory. That's when we then want the Folio Janitor. So what the transporter does, the janitor will do, is it will pick up dropped items and deposit them into an inventory. You can configure an allow block list. So to make the janitor, we're going to need a chest, a chalk brush, a hopper, and a dispenser. And again, because it's a folio, we can use the same ritual here. And then we're just going to need a janitor, not a book of calling, sorry, a folio, isn't it? Oh my god. There we go, just a folio book. And there it goes, the janitor is coming. And we should get a book of calling for it as well, because obviously we need to be able to designate the chests, etc. that we're putting into. Ta-da! Here's your little janitor. We can shift right click on him with the book of calling. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this. You can shift right click with the book of calling to pick them up. So I can then right click and plop him down here. The same with the book of calling for the transporter. If I shift right click with an empty hand, again I can whitelist it. And I'm going to whitelist iron dust. So my folio crusher is crushing up the iron ore, doubling it into iron dust. The janitor is then going to pick up the iron dust. I then shift right click with the book of calling. Wait, Ezevrin, is that the right one? Oh god, I've made a right old mess. Sorry, my book of calling for my janitor. I'm going to shift right click for the chest, and he's now going to put, in fact, right click it on the floor, and you could set base location or set deposit. So I'm going to say set deposit from here. If I then set base location, I can shift right click here to say that's where I want you to stand, and that's your base location, so that when the crusher drops the dust, he's nearby. He'll probably do it in this whole area, but you want him nearby, right? So what we've done is we've automated the whole process. What you could also do is actually get a furnace, place it down, coal, and then I can say set deposit, shift right click on the furnace. So what is happening here is he's going to place it into the furnace. Now I do think you need to put it into the top of the furnace, so shift right click the top of the furnace, and the janitor will import it into there. What you could then do is get another transporter and put the extract as the furnace and whitelist iron ingots, or all ingots, meaning that when the ingots are cooked, the transporter will take the ingots out and then put them into, say, this chest, for example, wherever you want them. And you've automated a whole ore processing process. And remember, the future or later ones can even do up to 6 times processing. So let's just go over that process again. We are going to put our raw ore in this chest and get a transporter. Shift right clicking on it with the folio transporter with set extract to take items from the chest that you've shift right clicked on him and whitelisted. And then we right click again, press set deposit, and shift right click it onto our crusher demon. Then we have a janitor who will pick up the items that the crusher drops and take them to the furnace. The furnace obviously cooks them up, or doubling or tripling, etc., depending on which one you're using. And then you can have another transporter set to extract from the furnace and depositing into a chest where you have your final ingots. And you've automated the whole process. So that is Janitor and Transporter folios. The next one I want to show you is the Otherworld Sapling Trader, which we're going to need for the Lumberjack folio. As you can see here, summoning a Lumberjack requires a stable Otherworld sapling. It needs an iron axe, or any axe really, an Otherworld sapling, spruce, birch, and oak. You then get the cooling one. But I'll show you this properly in a minute. So you need 5 offering sacrificial bowls for this one, for example. But first we need to actually get the stable Otherworld saplings. So not the oak ones, these ones. So basically, I won't go through it all. I think you know by now how to make these. It uses AVR Circle, which is the folio one. Put in these 4 saplings, and you'll get the Otherworld Sapling Trader. You simply are going to drop the Occultism oak saplings down next to the trader, and he will throw back at you Otherworld saplings. Now, the difference between these is that the Otherworld saplings, when planted, you can already see the difference. Everyone can see them and harvest them without needing the third eye. In other words, eating your dream fruit. So, unlike this one over here, which is actually an occultism one, this one we can just harvest normally without having to, do any funny business. Now, the saplings that will drop from this tree will also be stable Otherworld saplings. Meaning, once you've got on this trade, the Otherworld trade sapling folio, you will never need to do the silly oak tree dream fruit shenanigans again. You could just grow saplings from this first tree. Once we have that one, I'm going to put down the Otherworld sapling. And I'm also going to put down an oak, birch, and spruce. That's just a normal oak sapling. And then we're going to need another sacrificial bowl, remember. I'm going to put one here. And that's going to have my axe on it. I don't know if you can use one that is has durability use, but either way. And then we're going to get a folio one. And, oh, missing a birch sapling. Oh, I planted it. There we go. So it will tell you, by the way, in the chat if you're missing something. There we go. Here comes the Lumberjack. And as usual, you then get the calling book. I can click on the ground and it says set base location, and it will automatically do a 16 by 16 or 32 by 32, 64 64 area based on that base location. I can also say set deposit. So I'm going to say set base location. And I'm going to say here. Sorry, shift click here. And then I'm going to get some saplings. Bing, 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 bing. Let's grow them all. And he might be a bit far away because he's not coming. So I'm just going to right-click him to pick him up. And then I'm going to right-click to let him down. Set the base location. And as you can see, he's now chopping the trees. He may also wait after clearing the area, which is a performance-saving issue. Not issue. And also then what you're going to want to do is get a chest. Place it down. Right-click on the floor, set deposit, shift right-click, and he'll deposit into that chest. And there we go. You've actually got a really easy tree farm in Occultism. I don't think he's actually going to replant them, though, which is one slight issue with that. Yeah, I don't think he actually plants them. How unfortunate. Before we move on, there's just one thing I want to show you in the book, and that is going to be the weather magic and time magic. Basically, with the Offix's calling, which is this layout here, For the genie, what we can make here is clear weather, thunderstorm, rainy weather. Now, these folios, well, they're not folios. They are actually a genie. If you want to make it clear weather with Offix's calling, this will make a sunshine spirit. Basically, let's say it's raining. You summon this spirit. It will actually make it sunshine, and then it will vanish. With rainy weather, you need Abra's Conjure with a Book of Binding Afrit and Afrit's Conjure, this ritual, and that will make it rainy. The same with Abra's Conjure for thunderstorm, do the same thing. And that will set the weather once. The same thing can be done with time magic, with Offix's calling, with a genie, with these items, and this one for dusk. And that's how you can change the day once with summoning as well. So I just wanted to mention those other few little things that we can do there. In order to do much stronger rituals, which would require red chalk, you're going to see here that we need Afrit Essence. And in order to get Afrit Essence, we're going to have to look at summoning rituals. Sorry, possession rituals. Number one is going to be the Afrit, of course. So we're going to need a few things for this. In your book, you can go down to possession rituals on the left, and it shows you all the different possession rituals. The most important one would be Afrit Essence. We need a flint and steel, never quartz, never rack, gunpowder, Book of Binding, Afrit, and you'll notice it says sacrifice cow with the Abra's Open Conjure. So I'm going to place those items down. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then it's going to be a Book of Afrit. So with your Dictionary of Spirits, your Book of Binding Afrit, which is made with purple dye, we're going to bind it and put it in the middle. Now, what you'll see here is it'll say it started summoning it, and you'd usually expect to see purple particles, right, when the ritual starts. But can you see that there's grey particles instead? Now, that is because it says in here, we need to sacrifice a cow. So place all your items down like this, get your cow in range, and slaughter it. Then the particles will turn purple, and it will start actually summoning the Afrit. You must place all the items down and then sacrifice the cow in order for it to work. And eventually, in a few seconds, there we go. So some blazes have spawned along with it, which is terrifying. And we have here the Afrit. And you're going to kill the Afrit, and it's going to drop some Afrit Essence, which you can then use to make red chalk. Red chalk being the most powerful chalk for the most powerful rituals. Now, I'm just going to put it back to peaceful because these slimes drive me mad. Now, what I also want to show you in the book really quickly, I'm not going to show you all of them, of course. I don't think there's any need at this point. In possession rituals, it's a really good way of getting certain items. For example, we need to get Afrit Essence, but you can also get Endstone, Ghast Tears, Skeleton Skulls, Wither Skeleton Skulls, Hearts of the Sea. Let's say you really need some Wither Skeleton Skulls. Well, if I click on this, you can see that by using these items and then sacrificing a villager or a player, oh my god, basically we can do this, which will summon the Wild Hunt, and then when we kill all the beasts that the monsters that summon, we will get the Wild Hunt consists of Wither Skeletons that has a big chance to drop Wither Skeleton Skulls and their minions. So basically it's a much higher chance to get the skulls when doing the Wild Hunt here. Again, if you want to get Ender Pearls, we can put down a Genie Book of Binding with these items, and the Enderman that will spawn when you sacrifice a pig is guaranteed to drop 1 to 3 Ender Pearls. So it's a very good way of basically guaranteeing that you can get these drops that you see here, and those are possession rituals. Another cool type of familiars we can summon, spirits we can summon are familiars, and that's in the familiars tab. There's quite a lot of them, as you can see here. The example I'm going to use is the bat familiar. So when we click on the bat familiar, we can see what benefit it provides us, and that's generally how these familiars work. It provides night vision, meaning we need to sacrifice a bat, sacrifice these items with a genie book, and we will then get a bat familiar that comes around with us and will give us night vision. Now, some of your familiars will attack for you. There's a chimera here. You have to give it all these items, sacrifice a sheep, and it's a rideable mount. It can be fed any meat to grow. When growing, it will gain damage and speed. Once it's grown big enough, players can ride it. So you can basically just find out all about the familiars in here. I think you should be comfortable enough with the Occultism mod now to look at how you summon these and the effects it gives, etc. Now, one thing to notice, there's an upgrade with these. The upgrades are by the blacksmith familiar. Like, for example, with the bat, if you upgrade it with the blacksmith familiar, it will give lifesteal effect to you. Your familiars can, of course, die. If they do die, what you need to do is this ritual here. So when the let's say the bat dies, it will drop a soul shard. So you'll have a soul shard from your bat that's died. We can then get 4 Otherworld Essence and plop it in the middle with a soul shard, with the soul shard that it's died from, with AVR Circle, which is the Foliot one. And we can then bring it back to life that way. Otherworld Essence is made really easily, just with basic Dream Fruit. And that's basically how you get... There's even a Devil familiar. Goodness gracious me. Fire resistance and attacks enemies for you, for example. You do all this rubbish and sacrifice a horse in Igahun's Enthrallment Pentagon. So that's how you get familiars. Quick, cap on that. And now we're going to go on to some more interesting other things that you can do in the Occultism mod. Another thing you can do is storage with this mod, and it's actually really, really good considering how simple it is. At least simple for this level of the game. So what I've got here is a dimensional storage actuator. You make this by making a dimensional crystal matrix. Basically, do this ritual with these items. Same with this. You get the drill by now. And you just place it down like this. When I right-click into it, you can see there's 128 slots. So that means, same as way if you've used applied energistics, that one slot, I take out raw iron, there's 2 slots. I take out 64 diamonds, it doesn't go down a slot. There's 128 slots of items, including NBT. So like if I put in a diamond hoe that has NBT data, it's got durability on it, it's going to take up an entire slot. And that's only ever going to take up 1 slot. Whereas 700 diamonds will also take up 1 slot. And we can search up here, clear the search, sort by amount, sort ascending, do not sync search of JEI or search. So, over here I could put in diamond, and it'll sync the search bar up here, or not. The only thing I can't work out is what this furnace bit does. I've looked online, I can't see anything. Nothing comes up, yet I can still put stuff in. Yeah, I'm not sure, really. I'm sorry about that, but it's not easy. Okay, so how do we upgrade it? Well, we can stabilize it. So you've got a tier 1 stabilizer, a tier 2, a tier 3, and a tier 4. So tier 1, I think this adds 128 slots, and as you can see, fairly simple to make. And what you're going to do, you can have up to 6 of these, is you can have them up to like 8 away, but it needs to be facing this matrix, so like this. Now when I go into it, there's 384 slots. I go in here again, facing it, and now there's 640 slots. If I add a tier 2, there's 640. So the tier 2, one of them will add 512 slots. The tier 3 will add 1,024 slots. And a tier 4, I'm guessing it's maybe double that. Yes, it's double that. So 2,056, I think. But as you can see, it needs like quite a lot more in order to make it. And there's one thing I haven't shown you there, and that is blocks of Iesnium for these kind of upgrades. This is the mining part of the video that I haven't quite done yet. So that is the only bit I haven't shown you. But yeah, it's really, really simple. So I can add one more here, and it's adding 4,000 slots. One more here, and you can do above and I think below as well, so you can have 6 of them. But yeah, like I've got 6,000 slots already just using these free upgrades, even though obviously they are quite difficult to get and quite end game. But considering how easy this is, even just like a tier 1 upgrades, you're going to get quite a lot of storage. There's also with here a wormhole we can get, and what you do with this is you shift click it to that actuator I can place it down, as you can see on the floor, and then I can access that actuator through this wormhole. And then remotely, well, I mean, technically that is remotely, but fixed in place. There's also the storage accessor. And basically, again, I shift right click that on there and it's linked. So I can basically remotely access my storage with the storage accessor. And that will work throughout different dimensions. And there we go. That's how you use the dimensional storage in Occultism. So I've mentioned a bit about this Iesnium Ore. Well, how do we find it? Well, it's down here in the depths of hell in the Nether. Now, you may notice that my screen is a little bit tinted right now. And that's because I have the third eye. But I only have the third eye not from eating dream fruit, but from the otherworld goggles. So I would really recommend making these for this. This is how you make them. You're going to need a lens frame and infused lenses. It's made of a little ritual with glass lenses here, with a spirit-attuned gem. Quite easy to make. Put them on and you will always have the third eye, which is the effect you get when eating the dream fruit. It'll add a bit of a tint to your screen, but it won't be as bad as when you eat the dream fruit. Come into the Nether, and you know how like the oak trees look different when you have your third eye? Well, this time with the Iesnium Ore, it's Netherrack. And this is the ore you're looking for here. See, it says here, Netherrack, but clearly it's not Netherrack. Well, that's how we find it. It's quite rare, and I'm going to give you a little tip in finding it. Unfortunately, this one's under lava, so it's a bit hard to properly show you. So the way you're going to want to find it is with this divination rod. Very simply, with sticks and a spirit-attuned gem. You can see here that if I use it, I hold it down, and boom. See a little pink particle? It's going towards where the nearest Iesnium Ore is. So I can use that divination rod, and it will show me. How do I actually attune the divination rod to Iesnium? I shift and right-click on Netherrack, because Netherrack is the material that the ore would look like. If I place it down, you will notice in Creative, it still goes to the actual proper one. It won't recognise the ones I've placed myself. But if I take my goggles off, oh, they still look like Iesnium Ore. But normally it would look like Netherrack without your third eye. And that's why you need those goggles on. Or eating dream fruit, but at this point, you might as well just make the goggles. And a divination rod. So, how do we mine it? Well, that's another great question. You're going to need this here, an infused pickaxe. Basically, you infuse the pickaxe with the spirit of a demon. You need to do Strigiel's Higher Binding Pentacle. And then you need to do this ritual here with a spirit-attuned pickaxe head, which is just 3 spirit-attuned gems. This is the only way you can actually mine the Iesnium Ore. So you need this pickaxe, come to the Nether, get your divination rod, attune it to Netherrack even, by shift right-clicking on the Netherrack, and it will point the direction of the nearest ore, and don't forget to put your goggles on. Now that we have a lot of Iesnium, or some Iesnium, I would recommend that we start automating getting the process of it, and that's going to be with dimensional mining. So, one thing you're going to need is an Iesnium pickaxe, which is the first item I recommend you make with your Iesnium, as this will last a lot longer durability than the spirit-bound one, and it's faster at mining Iesnium. After that, what I would like you to make is a dimensional mine shaft. It will need a block of Iesnium, which, yes, is expensive, but this is going to mean that we can actually automate it. So once you've made the dimensional mine shaft, you can place it down. Here it is. You right-click into it. It's got a little slot. Here's the output. What we're going to put into here is lamps. We have here the Folio will mine random blocks in the mining dimension with 1,000 durability. The ore miner Genie will mine random ores in the mining dimension rather than random blocks, but only has a durability of 400. Afrit has an 800 durability, will mine random ores and deep slate ores in the mining dimension, and then the master miner Marid will mine random ores, deep slate ores, and rare ores in the mining dimension, which is obviously the best one. Yes, you can put mending on these, and also unbreaking. And, it works with other ones like unusing from Evilcraft. Tools become unusable when they have 1 durability left, which is a really good one if you do have Evilcraft installed, meaning that, your lamp will never break. But I would really recommend putting unbreaking and mending on here if you can. It's going to make your life a lot easier. All you need to do, and obviously like the higher ones, like the Married one, uses an insane amount of resources to make, If you do the tips I've just given, then you won't have to ever really replace it. And you basically get that lamp, place it in here, and as you can see, the bar goes up. Once the bar is full, boom, end lithium ore from GregTech. And then, boom, lead ore. Now, once this little tiny inventory is full, it will just start generating it, like, it will just start voiding what's in here. You need to either be taking this out with item pipes from another mod or something like that. Yes, the transporter demons... is it a transporter? That looks like a crusher demon. Janitor. You know the ones. These guys. These transporter demons, they can take from the inventories in here and put them to storage. So if you are only using occultism here, then yes, you can use transporter demons to take the ores out. And there we go. That's how, and you will get Iesnium Ore by doing this as well, by the way. So it's a really great way of automating your ores. You can have loads of, a whole row of these set up, just mining from the abyss. And there you go. You've got a lovely, never-ending dimensional ore mine that's pretty server-friendly as well. And there we go, guys. That is everything you need to know about occultism. I hope it was useful. Check out the playlists on my channel. I've done an insane amount of mods. If you don't know this channel already, my goal here is to basically cover every single mod in existence that needs a tutorial, not decoration mods. And I'm really quite getting there. I also have a World of Warcraft channel, Heavy Heals, and I have a variety gaming channel, Heavy How To. Check out those if you're interested. And if you want to get your own server, then check out the link below for G-Portal. You can get some money off with my code. And I also have my own ATM 10 server, and I'm also looking at launching more servers as our community grows, so check out our Discord for those.